Okay, so as you already know, this is part of my master's degree, which was essentially looking at how your facial appearance can affect how you're treated, especially within the criminal justice system. Now, it's probably no surprise to any of you that we make character judgments of people as soon as we set eyes on them. These judgments are fast, intuitive and unreflective, and they affect all aspects of your life. It's been found that attractive people get better outcomes in almost every significant domain of life that can be measured. In fact, some researchers have found that attractive people earn on average 12% more than unattractive people, which is a bit of a problem really, because it's us uglies that need the cosmetic surgery. But one of the things that you've sort of got to think about is, okay, if everyone makes these judgments, how accurate are they? Because they're affecting huge amounts of people's lives. And some researchers have found that, yeah, there's a kernel of truth in this judgment that we make of people as soon as we look at them. Whereas other people have found that actually people's personalities can be completely opposite to what you think just looking at them. So I was looking specifically at how facial appearance, yes, that's what I just said, despite the unreliability of the judgments, it still affects things as important as the criminal justice system. So the specific questions I had were, how does facial femininity and masculinity affect how you're treated within the criminal justice system? And how does perceived agreeableness affect how you're treated? Now, we didn't actually look at real people within the criminal justice system. What we did is we created a survey. But the first thing we had to do is create composite faces, which is basically where you take a load of different faces, feed them into a computer, and then you get an average face. And these are just some examples that I found on the internet. Then, if you've got the right information, you can manipulate these faces to look, in our case, more or less feminine or masculine, and more or less agreeable. And that's what we've done here. So these two top guys have been made more masculine, these bottom ones have been made more feminine. On the left, we've got low perceived agreeableness and then high perceived agreeableness. And I think we can all agree those two guys on the left we wouldn't want to get in a fight with. We then presented 12 questions that looked a bit like this, where it describes a crime and then shows a face and then says, do you believe this guy was guilty or not guilty? And we asked these questions regarding rape, assault and burglary. And we found overall this is what the facial effects had. So you can see this feminine disagreeable and the masculine disagreeable, like, you're looking at over 60% of people said that, yeah, they're guilty of rape, burglary, and assault. Whereas if you compress the statistics that we've got and just compare masculine faces to feminine faces, actually not a lot of difference. How masculine your face didn't seem to have that much of an effect on whether people judge you to be guilty. But if we then change it to agreeable and disagreeable, huge difference here. You've got this one on assault only being just over 40%, and then up here over 60% of people thought that the disagreeable face was guilty of having committed a crime. For those of you who are statistically minded, this is the results of the chi-squares. So basically, if this number is lower than 0.05, then what we've done has changed the result, and it isn't just by chance. So you see the first one, these numbers were very low. Here, they're well over 0.05, and that's the masculinity and femininity aspect. And then the next one is the perceived agreeableness, and you'll see in a second, there we go, that again, it's very, very significant. So those teeny tiny manipulations, and you saw on the faces, it's not actually a huge difference, was making a massive difference to whether people were clicking guilty or not guilty. And another reason why this is, it confirms what I said earlier. Your facial appearance can affect whether or not you're deemed to be guilty of having committed a crime. What was quite interesting in these findings was that a lot of the previous researchers suggested that actually masculinity and femininity is very important. And even in experiments done in the lab, people who have a slightly more masculine appearance not only are judged to be slightly more aggressive, they actually do behave more aggressively sometimes, but that's a very broad generalisation. Don't treat anyone with a masculine face as a nasty person. But yeah, these effects seem to be much stronger when we were talking about something that involved interpersonal violence. So something like, the burglary and the rape, the facial effects had a massive effect there, but less of an effect when it came to property theft. Anyway, that's all I've got time for, and thank you all for listening. I just want to say thank you to all these wonderful people who've helped me out doing that study. Thanks.